once again, welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott. And greetings, blessings, salutations, and love. Once again, welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott, and I think I'm starting a little bit early. It's hard to predict with me. So for those of you who are here, who have popped in already, sincerely, blessings to you. My gratitude is sincere, and I can hear the critics already. He's about to do it again. He's about to go live again. But it's Tuesday. I am Talcott. I did start earlier than I scheduled myself, and I send my greetings, blessings, appreciation, and sincere love to all who might find their way here, all who might find the resonance of my voice, right? Praise God, indeed. The thumbnail today wasn't a lot on it. I'm feeling good, but I am filled with faith and an abundance of love to share with others again today. And I hope you can already feel that abundance of faith and love today. And today can be remembered as a day that blessings were shared by you, by me, by many today. Wouldn't that be amazing? Having a day of true celebration just because blessings were shared by everybody. Why? Because they could. And so, honestly, I'm not bragging, but I am boasting? I don't know. My life, this life of me, Jack Talcott. I'm a simple man. I truly am. But I think I found my way and my way of living. And I found my way to the way of Jesus and many others. But truly the way of living as a human being, it's so much more simple than the mind wants to believe. So I'm speaking from experience. I mean, I promote the message of live without fear. I understand fear, but I understand the counterbalance of fear, which is love. And love has no opposition. So fear is just like this silly little child sometimes, but it's also very real. I can't ignore that. Fear, I mean. So the topic today of shift from fear to clarity. It's truly the only way. It's the gateway. It's the path from hell to heaven. You shift and you move from fear into clarity, but there's no movement. There's no steps. It's just all done within. The path to freedom, the path to enlightenment, the path to love, the path to heaven. It's all inner work, man. It's all an inside game. But this topic seemed pretty, I hope to be beneficial, because I've experienced my own shifts. I've witnessed others shift, right? Where they used to have this cloud of darkness, doubt, regret, right? And then it's gone. It didn't disappear, but it's like no longer heavy. It's just, it's the way it was, man. It's the way things used to be. It could be some of the lighting, man. I appreciate that, Grant's Modern Life. Dang, Jack, your hair is awesome. It's shining very bright. I'm trying to figure out, I know there's ways to improve the lighting and, what I'm doing. I'm sure there's a lot of ways to make me look more purty. a little more eye appealing. But hey, I'm a work in progress, and I kind of accept me for how I am, and I hope you can too, because this is temporary. And in my head, I've already got, right. We've got better production. We're doing value, shortened content with value. We'll do short clips. There's fun conversations, maybe some pretty exciting guests. That's what I envision for my participation here online. So you're a part of that, you, whoever you are. If you join me, that is. And if you're subscribed, that is a great start. And I appreciate that. And I encourage you, invite you, tell others what's going on. There's a crazy guy here, former veteran, former postal worker. Is he going postal? Did he lose his mind? Well, he talks about God a lot, talks about overcoming fears, talks about trying to bring reform and peace into the world. So I don't know if that's crazy or not, but what I do know is that I had the blessings earlier today, not online, but privately. I was thankfully, right, due to the blessings of social media, the network of communication, we can speak and connect to people all around the world. And this morning, that was my life. I got to speak with friends I had met online from Ireland, from Nigeria, from Kenya. And I had an amazing conversation. So it wasn't direct conversation with all of them. Some of them are just messages, voice messages and text messages, but there's a connection. So the lady I was speaking to in Kenya, we got into costs of living, and she was kind of sticker shocked, I guess, to hear what rent costs here. And I was just kind of, wow, blown away by what she said she pays. So it really got me thinking here. So I found, well, I don't need to get into this. The topic revealed clearly, right? She asked, why is it so expensive there? Well, clearly it's selfishness. In America, selfishness is enabled, right? It's people profit from exploitation and manipulation. It's the billionaires club. And if you ain't in it, well, you're getting used by it. And they cooperate with each other a lot better than the poor do. But see, the conversation reminded me about the true selfishness of America, how it is the collective bully of the world. It's crazy when you stop and think about it. And she offered me an honest outside perspective that confirmed my thoughts and my observations. The rest of the world is kind of helpless against what America does, because America spends the most in the military, and we got occupying forces all over the globe, all over the world. There's military bases. So America is like this big selfish bully. It grew up, right, a little grew up a little rough, maybe. In its early youth, it had some pretty poor ideas about people in some ways, and in other ways, it had great ideas about people. So we are where we are. Let me get back to that. The selfishness of America has corrupted the entire world, and we are that. You don't have to be a part of America to understand my words, because we are a part of the same world. And if you stop and you think about it, it is so obvious. We're divided, especially we, okay? I'm talking about those who are like me, those who are working class, work hard and no silver spoon, no millionaire parents or inheritance. So if you're like me, recognize what is wrong. We're all divided. See, the poor are divided to protect the rich. If we would stop arguing over identity politics and sexual orientation and religious beliefs, and if we would stop arguing, there'd be a lot less conflict in the world, would there not? So I think it's time, brothers and sisters. What helped me heal and become a better version of me, I had to face the darkness that was in me. And within me, within each of us, until we do the work, there's conflicts, right? There's a shadow side, an unexplored part of our consciousness. And that may continue to always be. I mean, we are continuing unfoldings of personalities and archetypes. It's all just a brilliant mystery. Life is a brilliant mystery. Brothers and sisters, we can celebrate today just because we can breathe. Here, brother. Yes. We got to rise above the distractions of the world. We've got weaponized weather, we've got weaponized media, we've got weaponized monetary systems, we've got, holy cows, we got a lot of stuff going on. And you know what? Here, the time is now. Number one death coach. That is me, man. I'll claim it. I don't know a lot of death coaches, but I'll claim it. That's me. Because I encourage that ego death. Oh, kill the selfish one. Kill that selfish one inside of you, man. Don't let it be. Get rid of it. Because the selfishness inside of us, that's what corrupts us. And then see, when we find corruption in the world, we've got enemies out there in the world. We drive ourselves and each other nuts. I'm going to drop the link. That's the point I was going to get to. Much love to all. Much love to us all. I truly am grateful to everything. We do have a weaponized government. It's been brilliantly developed and put together. And if you think about it, it makes sense. Most of the legislators and such are attorneys. And so they're going to create a lot of laws because that's what they were taught how to do. And so they create all these laws, think they're going to legislate their way out of problems, but they're actually creating more problems than they realize. I'm speaking about the men and women of Congress. The big, beautiful bill that Donald Trump's all... I was going to get gross about that. Donald Trump is very excited about his big, beautiful bill. And that big, beautiful bill is, baby, it is part of our weaponized government. But if you think about it, think about what is, right? Not what it's called, not what you think it is, but what it is. A government. Is it actually created to protect your freedom or to govern and limit your freedom? Think about that, right? Because the whole idea of border crossing, show me your papers, all of this stuff is just made up by the kings and queens, man. The kings and queens who want their armies to go off to war. And you got to have enemies if you're going to have war. And if you're going to have militaries, well, you better have some war. Otherwise, these generals aren't doing what they're paid to do. Brothers and sisters, this world we live in is absolutely insane. And I thought it was all real when I was young. I thought it was all real important. The taxes. If you don't pay your taxes, you're going to go to jail. Yeah, maybe. Golly jeez, man. I just don't know. I just don't know what to do. The world we live in, the people I found. There's a lot of people I found, man, that are not what they seem to be. Right? And then the faults always accuse the real, and the real can point out the faults, but who's to know who's right? Oh no, we can't tell who's right. We can't figure it out. These I'm sharing with you right now some of the inner dialogue, and it may not make sense to everybody, especially if you're new to me, but praise God, man. See, people's doubts and their fears have received so much power that we have absolute fools doing things that they could not, should not, could not do if people were not fooled. Brothers and sisters, I don't know the right words to offer. I know what I'm trying to communicate. What my prayer is that through my efforts online, the live streaming, that the right words will be delivered. And I don't know the right words for you. I don't even know who you are. I don't know who might be listening. But I know my hope is that the right words are shared. The right words that are the key to, this shift inside of your being, so that you don't feel as trapped by the past, or the trapped by the news, or as trapped by the opinions of others. Once you find your freedom from your prison, from your mental prison, and you feel this love, the expansive love of who you are, once you discover the love of who you are, you will never step away. You won't allow yourself. But the love of who you are is the love that you want to share with others, that state of love. That love is what perfects a moment. Love is what perfects a being. If I remember the words right from the Bible, they said that Jesus was perfected with love. So, can you allow love to perfect you? You can certainly allow love to improve you. That's what did it for me. Love is what improved me. But it was my attention on love that was what really moved me, and what gave me faith, and what gave me confidence, and gave me the incentive. My love for others, my love of ideas, that's what gave me the strength to continue when there is no other hope in sight. I think we all hit these moments of time, these times of struggles. And if you haven't, God bless. You are blessed, right? Praise God. I celebrate. There's others, though, who are living through some misery. And if we can be a part of helping end wars and misery here on earth, don't you think we should try? I mean, that's a question I asked myself. God's kept me alive for some reason. I've learned what I've learned for some reason. I've I've become who I am for some reason. And what is that reason? Well, I guess it's yet to be determined. But as I said today offline, I had some friends, people who were willing to take advantage of my offers. And my offer is available. For those who are feeling they could use some encouragement, a positive outlook on their tough situation, or looking for some whatever, I'm available. And I'm available for pretty much anyone until I'm not. But this is what There's so many ways I can explain these things, the things I have learned. Yeah, Artpol, I'm pretty sure this is, I don't know why I'm entertaining it so long. Let's do that. Because that Browns boy fool, he's such a disappointment to me. He really is. Anyway, they're coming for you. Oh, you hear the sirens? Yeah, oh, praise God. This life. Hey, and you know what? I realize the atmosphere, the energy of what Jack Talcott has brought in these live streams in the past. But if there's anyone who really, you're willing to talk, you want to talk, but you don't want to deal with the craziness online, everyone is welcome to, at any time, in any way, you can just let me know you'd like the attention. If you click the link and there's others here, you can just get my attention. I'll put others in the back. We can talk. And, as long as your intentions are good, I don't even really require most people to cam up. But the other thing is that I do hope to serve. Rebecca Joe, unfortunately, this is true. I think I got addicted to the fight in my life. I started learning I enjoyed winning, right? And you're not going to win if you don't engage. So I found myself kind of engaging in a lot of fights and a lot of battles along my way. But I'm breaking addictions. I'm breaking patterns. I know full well the value of delayed gratification. I know full well the value of self-control, right? No longer engaging in those foolish ideas, those foolish treats. I understand the value of those things. And so I don't so much like the fight. I do not. Actually, I am tired of fighting. I am tired. And yet my spirit, man, the spirit of me it just keeps me going. It's like I've never felt so energized or youthful in my life. But as far as this, I am tired of fighting. But I engage. You see through me. Yes. I am bound and determined to figure out, how do I end this? It's not always walking away. Sometimes walking away is the best way, but I don't think it's always. Modern man, lost again. Blessings and thank you. I apologize for missing out last night. I got calls and distracted, and the timing just wasn't right, for me at least. But praise God. There's something special happening. And if you can allow yourself to accept it, this was part of a conversation I had with someone else today. If you can allow yourself to accept it, realize that you are a part of the special that is happening here on earth today. And what is that special? Maybe you already know what you do and what's special about you. And I hope you're sharing it. I hope you're on a path where you are sharing your special gifts. Because as they say, once you find your purpose and your passion, you never work another day of your life. I'm pursuing mine. I'm pursuing my goal. I'm pursuing my passion. And my passion and my goal is to help other human beings who are like me, right? They want a better world. They're willing to try. They're willing to step in themselves and try, even though, may not have all the details, but sure willing to do whatever it takes to make things better. We're all that way. And yet at the same time, every single one of us is an ignorant, foolish pig who just gets in the way. And maybe not everyone, but praise God, we've all got that tendency of ignorance and stupidity. Part of the conversations we discussed recently. And it is in line. Shift from fear to clarity. Tell you what, let's conceptualize what is fear. False evidence appearing real. That's one that I really like. And then there's other acronyms. But if you just run with the idea that fear is a symptom that's coming from a conclusion that we find. And the conclusion is found in our mind, whether it's conscious or subconscious. It's fear. The symptom of fear is a reaction to either what we can tell could be a painful outcome or to a lack of an answer. When we don't have an answer, our mind can get confused, and in the confusion, fear kind of takes over because you want to protect yourself. But the confused mind and the fear mind and the convinced mind, it won't hear the whispers, the whispers of the Holy Spirit. They're there. I lost where I was going. I'm sorry. But the idea is to move beyond the confused mind. Okay, fear. Fear is a symptom of the absence of the answer. Because once you have an answer, usually you can accept and you're not afraid as much. Sometimes the answer is one that's going to bring you pain. It's an answer that could hurt. And then I guess what is fear in that case? Well, it's still future tripping. It's still future tripping, and the fear is going to cloud the mind from thinking of alternatives, ways to avoid that which is feared. Because, see, this is all a game of life and time is instantaneous. It takes just a second, less than a second. A decision and a choice can be made like that. And when that decision and choice is made, you can shift your entire perspective through the power of mind and will with practice, right? And awareness. Once you're aware of things, and you can practice it. And once you practice it, you can master it. But the idea is, you have the power and the ability within your mind to shift how you feel at any given moment. Because you can shift your focus, the point of your mind and the awareness, what you're bringing in information, and then what you're ignoring information. You can train your mind to do all sorts of things, just like you can train your body to do all sorts of things. Life is about training. Training is about growth, right? Improvement, development. We're here to develop and refine our inner character. We're not here to pay the boss and build a bank account, right? You could. I mean, that's kind of playing in the sandbox, I think, in the greater adventure of spiritual development, gathering billions, taking joyrides into the stratosphere. At the same time, there's other men and women sleeping in the streets, dealing with wars. See, the inequality that everyone takes so for granted, I guess, people want to defend. Oh, yeah, he earned it. They earned it. And I guess, praise God. Arguments can be made for anything, but I'm trying to break my habits of arguing. I'm growing in my ability to understand by that choice. If you listen, I encourage you to consider that goal as well. You can overcome your habit of arguing by choosing to grow in your willingness and ability to understand. because you don't understand if you're always talking, if you're always arguing, to protect your position and prove you're right. We live in a world of egoic nonsense, and the nonsense has the poor divided. And when the poor are divided, the rich have more power. They're protected from anything because the poor people are just pointing at each other. Praise God. I truly love the man who I am becoming, and I hope that you who tune in, I hope you enjoy me as well. I know the things I say. I say things that are different than most people. But if you can imagine the benefit of the things I'm saying, if you can imagine the benefit of these being heard on greater platforms with different audiences, join my efforts. There's someone out there, I have an idea who it is. There's someone out there, it appears, who is impersonating me, online through comments and emails. So I had someone reply to a false comment. So I don't know if that sound was coming through, but I wanted to pause so to avoid it coming through. Thank you. Thank you for dropping this. Folks are welcome to join. Click the link. Where was I? I took myself off. Poor cat. Cat wasn't feeling well for a moment. So where was I? Shift from fear to clarity, right? Okay, so there, back to the topic and the idea. If you consider that fear is just the absence of the positive answer, it's the absence of the answer that gives your heart content. That's when fear arrives. So the goal is to recognize you can be content without an answer. You can be content with answers you don't like, in the immediate present. And then, most importantly, though, if you've got a fear and it's just an absence of an answer, go get the answer. Ask the question. Find the answer that gets you past the fear. Because our bodies are not designed to live in a constant state of fear, panic, anxiety, anger. We're not supposed to live with depression day after day. Yeah, sure, there's medications and there's things you can do to numb yourself, to cope with the symptoms. But there's something to be said about health, and health is found with the answers, and the answers will lead you, well, the true answers are the ones you want. And when you find the true answers, you realize there's no reason to fear. There's no reason to run from answers. There's no reason to hide from answers. There's every reason to wonder. I've been practicing in myself the things I'm sharing, seriously. As I find more simple ways to explain what I'm doing, what I'm learning, that's what I'm sharing here. Because really, life is simple in its natural order and its natural design. You follow the logic, it's just one moment after another. And so just rest into the moments, be at one with the presence of who you are, I am, right? Be one with the presence of I am here and now. And in the here and now, there's a superior presence that I know as God, right? God is the first person in the present at all times. That which allows me to say I am is that, okay? That which allows me to say I am is that. that which you can honor, that which you can understand. You can't see it, but you can know it, right? The power of God is everywhere. It is the beginning, it is the end. There is one way to be. It's to be with love. To be without love is self destruction. To take yourself through self destruction, that's a sin against the Most High's plan and creation. But we're built with these self destruct mechanisms within us. It's called a true conscience, and everything else is perfect. This world we live in is not as it seems. Your fear only has the power you allow it, just as your love. Your love only has the power you allow it. I encourage you to love your love more than your fear. Love your love more than your hate. Love your love just because you can. Because truly, if you can live with love or not, once you've tasted both, it's like a no-brainer. It's like, no, I've tried love. No, I'm not doing it without it again. Nope, not in my plans, at least by God's grace. It won't. Oh gosh. So tell us about the impersonator. I have a suspicion of who it is, but I can't remember the web pages. Someone has been leaving comments under an account with my name, and it's not me leaving the comments. Some of these comments are very, in my view, very offensive, inappropriate towards women. They objectify women. They've demeaned others. They're kind of insulting and combative. And so there's a guy online, and actually, I could pull him up, give him a shout out. James True, I think is his name. James True. He's got about 20 or 50,000 subscribers. He's bigger than me, but he's a talent. He's a different energy, but I admire what he's doing. I don't know who he is. But he sent me an email saying, "Hey, dude, you want to check your attitude?" Righteously, he did. So, James Falls. No, it's James True. I don't know. I don't know. Here, maybe I can pull it up. Yeah, there he is. This is who I was talking about. I don't even know it's him, but I got an email from, well, from jtrue.com. So I'm pretty sure that's him and his website. He reached out to me to ask what was going on. And after I replied, I looked him up and I saw his stuff. I didn't share his channel. Sorry. I actually found him pretty entertaining. He's got a sharp mind and kind of a comedic way of presenting some things. But he's on the path of truth, I believe. And if anyone knows him, if anyone's willing to help me communicate, not just him. I was watching around Impressed Again by Aaron Abke. His work is oh wow, really? How interesting. James True and Owen Benjamin had a long saga. See, I haven't met either. Owen Benjamin's another name that's come up a lot, right? You guys have been around a while. See, you guys, there's things happening. I don't claim to know anyone or anything anymore. My mind keeps getting blown. But we're in this time, guys. We are in this time where we are the shift. We are bringing the shift away from fear to clarity. The lies are becoming exposed. The liars will be eventually accountable. I trust, because that's the natural order. When the truth comes out, those who who tried to manipulate and deceive from the truth, well, there can be hell to pay here on earth and beyond. But I'm not here to judge or condemn or punish anyone. I just want the world to change. And I know that Donald Trump and the other men and women of Congress, they could help these ideas. Just a matter of sharing ideas from one human being to another. You would think that's not so difficult. But have you seen how humans communicate with each other? Holy cows. There's evidence on this channel. I try and host conversations, and it's like herding cats. Sometimes they come in, they're all pissed off at each other. Sometimes they're trying to mate with each other too, it seems. I don't know what they're doing, but life. Life is, hey, where was that? Our poll, I think it is. I think this is what's happening, because I have to face it, right? I have to face that the trolls and the mockery of Jack, it's actually done quite a bit to help my name become known. There's people who have never talked to me, maybe even never seen my stuff, but they've heard Jack Talcott. They've heard the name. They've seen the name elsewhere. And so it's in there. There's something going on in this world, brothers and sisters. And this Jack Talcott character, I am in it to win it, so to say. They're all in on it. Hey, Edward, he does, man. Donald Trump, he will be so happy once he gets to know me. He'll be so glad we met. He'll be glad we became friends, and I think the whole nation will be. I think the world will be happy when Jack Talcott talks. When Jack Talcott gets control of the American government, man, this world is going to be different, I tell you. And I'm literally hoping to help do that. Praise God. Someone's got to do it. Someone has got to confront this nonsense. This is absolute ridiculous corruption between the genocide and the attacks upon men and women, the genocide and oppression that is happening elsewhere beyond the borders of America, coupled with the attack upon the civil liberties and the rights and freedoms of men and women within the borders, America has lost its way. Those of you who are proud of this, let's join together so we can make this nation something to be proud of again. Donald Trump, he said the words, but I haven't seen him with much follow through. Make America great again. I don't think it's ever realized its potential. And I think this is a message like all of humanity. All of humanity, we've missed out. We've lost sight of the potential that's available to be a human. To be a human is divine. It's a glorious, righteous experience that not every being gets to find. It's a glorious game of life here on earth. We're here to live it to the fullest. Now, what does that mean? Well, if you're going to be selfish, you're not living a very full life. You're just full of yourself. And if you're full of yourself, you'll be at war and in competition with everything else, because that's what you're designed to do. Foolishness. See, selfish people, they corrupt the experience, not just for themselves, but for others. Every one of us who has worked a job, especially if that job is for a larger corporation or in support of a larger corporation, every single one of us has been undervalued, I would say, at least for our potentials. Because I know the human potential. It's pretty mind blowing what people are capable of doing. They will surprise you unless you just stop being surprised. Number one death coach, how are you so confused? How are people so confused? You guys aren't getting the news, I guess. I don't know because I have no TV. I'm guessing none of your news channels are cornering the riots in Spain or Ireland. Once one takes a hotel down, they'll all fall. Riots in Spain or Ireland. I had not got that into my head yet. I didn't realize that. Don't know. But this one, I mean, that's like totally backwards, man. How could you even think that that's, well, you're being absurdly backwards, maybe. Intentionally absurdly backwards. That seems to fit in this world of today. To be absurdly backwards and to play the devil role of the devil. God, I used to love that job. I had fun with that too. But if Jack Talcott becomes world leader, then we are all going to be living with fear instead of without fear. I suggest that is absolutely untrue. And more so, rather than argue, I suggest there's only one way to find out. Let's see what happens if Jack Talcott gets the ears and the attention of the world leaders. I'm not trying to take their job. I'm not trying to take any position. I'm just saying the ones who are there in positions of influence and power, I think they can do better, right? Because, yeah, thank you. I honestly know who I am, and I am a positive influence on people. Wherever I go, that's my hope, is to be positive influence, to make a life a better experience wherever we go. Hank, blessings to you. Sincerely, thank you. Why is Death Coach afraid of Jack Talcott? There's people that are bizarrely, they're attracted to me, but they want to keep me at an arm's distance, if not further. And oh man, bigotry and hatred on the island. Hey, I appreciate that. We'll get caught up on the main news too. I don't know. See, isolationism is not for a win. Isolationism is counterproductive. It's not. No. What is the answer here for the human species? We've got so much potential. Oh my God. There's every problem in the world today is just a potential solution. It's a solution waiting to be emerged. Every problem, the education systems, the healthcare systems, the economic, the political, the media, it can all be changed. Everywhere there's a problem, there can be improvement. We've just got to change our mindset and stop believing that we need to be isolated and separated from others. No, 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 no. You're missing the point of unity. See, love requires and it brings in connection. There is love. and only love. And love is best emerged, experienced when it's shared. So isolation, no, 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 no. No. Hey, this illegal immigrant, it implies that people are criminals. And people fell for the word magic, right? Believing that immigrant or illegal, those things make a difference in the type of person. No. We can change this whole experience, and I think it's going to happen. I actually believe, brothers and sisters, I'm telling you, if you're not subscribed yet, do. You don't want to miss out, because I don't know if it'll be online, but this character, there's something going on with me. I think it's divine. I think something holy and amazing is happening with me in my path of life. Why do I think that? Because I've devoted my time, my mind, my heart to God. I'm so glad I did. Because if I didn't, then I'd be all worried. I'd be angry. I'd still be crying and complaining. Oh, it's not fair. Life just isn't fair. Oh, it hurts. Yeah, you're right. So now what? Let's do something about it. These are conversations I have with me, man. So we are here. We are here to create a better world, and there's characters like this. If anybody knows Jack, please call 911. Can't you guys see and hear? He's about to snap. Help him. Don't enable him. I don't understand what's going on here. Oh, you're talking about the illegals. Oh, please, dude, you're missing the point if you want to focus on this division. As I said, it's so obvious and clear. The poor are divided, right? You want to focus on a division. Oh, they're taking my stuff. No, the rich citizens are taking your stuff. The wealthy government officials are threatening your freedom. It's not the people seeking a better life for themselves. Now, are there people coming into America with cruel and evil intentions? Possibly. I'm not naive. I'm not stupid. But I do know that much of the anger and hate in the world directed at America is because America has become a bully to the world. I mean, colonization, imperialization, oppression, whatever you want to call it, it is. It's nonsense, and it's destructive. And it needs to change. It doesn't, you know what? Nothing needs to do nothing. God determines that. Praise God. All I need to do is to be who I am. And who I am is one who is present here in this life. And I don't like what I see in the political, economic, and religious atmospheres. But I don't let those things trouble me or bother me anymore either, because I live without fear. How do I live without fear? I live with faith. How do I live with faith? Well, I fill myself with gratitude so I can feel and sense the blessings. And along with my gratitude, I invite the divine aspect of humanity to join me. The thoughts of Christ being with me to celebrate my day that God has offered to me. And I am grateful. We have a guest, and we'll share some time of today that God has brought us together again. And praise be. Welcome back, Illumitami.
I am the leader of the Talcottian rebellion insurgency. Jack, does live without fear always stay on subscribers only mode, chat?
Yes.
Just live without fear. Just live without fear. Drop your critical, constructive criticism opposition in mid-sentence.
Does that mean I interrupt? Welcome,
No,
Frank.
it means do you fear letting your opposition finish their points?
Well, those are interesting questions. They're fair.
Does a man living a parallel life to Jesus defend the protection of the people's stuff and the acquisition of stuff? Sip without fear, Jack. Sip without fear.
Those are interesting questions because you said the acquisition of stuff. But let's pause, please. I'm grateful. Thank you for joining us again today. Urban outdoorsman, leader of the, please remind me, Tommy, what is it called again?
The Talcottian Rebellion Insurgency.
Talcottian Rebellion Insurgency. Welcome to you and welcome back.
We're going to dance around your new spot.
How funny.
How are you, brother? Welcome to you.
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. And I wanted to say thank you, too, for stopping by on my channel the other day and spending some time with me. I really appreciate that, man.
Hey, brother.
Wow.
It's fun.
It was good to have you over there.
Thank you.
What's happening, Tommy? Tommy?
I'm just thinking of Jack's always requesting friendship and
that's what I'm looking for, man. Fellowship and communion.
And
Spirit
you're
of
the guy
Lord,
that's
brother.
asking for Jack.
Tommy, your audio is breaking, my friend.
Yeah, he's breaking up a little bit. I wanted him to further define his Talcottian insurgency a little.
When I rise.
No, you're doing good, man.
Frank, Chinese must love you. I'll come back whenever I'm not in my tomb. I'll rise in approximately 3 moments.
Tommy,
can one receive salvation without? Oh, I was going to ask him a few questions, but yeah, no worries. Did he bail?
I think he's returning. Lawyer Chick, blessings to you. Thank you for the contribution. Donation for the insurgency. Tommy has been leading a mutiny, man, against Talcottia for a while.
Has he? What's the story with that? Why is he so diehard to fucking upend you and see you defeated? Maybe he's working for the devil.
I think it's karma. He's like, yeah. I think I see a lot of similarities. I don't want to say too much because he was here with good fun, and I hope.
No, I appreciate it.
Good fun.
I'm taking a page out of your book too, that you can't just turn people away because they come at you with vitriol and venom and toxicity. Sometimes you just gotta let them grow out of it, and that's good magic, man. I can appreciate that.
Well, Tom has shown me his heart too. I know that he's not a corrupted man. He's got a good heart, and he cares about a lot of things. So I can deal with people like that. Right? It's the ones who are just completely selfish and self-centered I really have trouble with.
And I think when I was asking the question, is Jack Talcott the Antichrist? That was just a sensationalism title. It had nothing to do with reality.
I know, Frank. Hey, welcome to you, Hank. Good to see you too, my friend.
Good to see you, Jack. So, from my perspective...
Greetings, O Flemo.
Yes. Yeah, so from my perspective, Tommy just has this devil complex. He always needs to be opposed to someone. He used to be opposed to Paul till I exposed him slavery convert contract, and he got bored of Pussy Paul. And now he's after Jack because Jack has something going for him, and he just needs to oppose it.
And that's the thing, too. Like, he sees something special in you, and that's why he wants to be a part of it. And whatever, if he's got to be Judas to do that, then that's what he's going to do.
Well, yes. It makes sense though too. We're like children, and we all want to fit in. We all want to have a part. And hey, thank you again, lawyer chick. Um,
Yeah, good magic. It's
Amen.
mammalian hierarchies, right? Like people are, like you said, we're just trying to fit into the tribe.
It is. And the thing is, we created rules for the tribe. It seems to be simple. You just go along with the money system and you go with the rules, and everything seems to be okay, right? But it's broken.
Oh yeah,
All,
it's obviously broken.
well, and I don't think people. I think people are the result. Well, it's which came first, the chicken or the egg? Which came first?
Egg came
Corrupted
first.
systems. Which came first, though, corrupted systems or corrupted people?
People came first. People build systems. Egg build creatures.
Do you think the systems were created corrupted, or they were created with good intent and became corrupted?
Most of them with good intent. Some of them were corrupt on purpose.
Yeah, and the historical narrative would paint a picture of, once there were philosopher kings and people who rose to those positions through meritocracy, but then it turned into hereditary transmission of power, and that's where the great evil really came from.
It's fascinating. This question from our poll. Thank you for your continuing support and contributions. Do you think Tom sees you as a father figure? It
He
is
may.
possible. It is
Yeah,
possible.
there may be a bit of an Oedipus complex there.
I think boys, well, maybe people do that. I remember I didn't have a healthy relationship with my dad or stepfather. Um, and I remember looking at other men with the idea of, what if that was my dad? Wouldn't that be different? Um, yeah.
One more thing about Tommy. He takes Jax's kindness for weakness, and that's why he goes after him. As he could go after like harder targets like King Steven or Flow State or me or Snafu Snaps, but all of us will hit back really hard, so he doesn't want to bother any of us.
Thing is, I don't think he wants to destroy me like he says.
No, yeah.
I think Tommy is a great guy. And actually, I got to admit, if it turns this way, then it will be a continuing part of my pattern. Many of my good friends in the past, we started out fighting, right? Sometimes it was physical fights. And then we'd talk, and then we found out, oh, you're not such a bad dude after all.
Right. You got to think about, he'd be lost without you at this point. You're one of his main interests. And imagine a lot of people feel that way too, because a lot of people gather here and listen to you transmit the message. And though I think because some of them are, juvenile and immature, they react a certain way in the chat or on the panel, but it's because they're seeking growth.
Yes.
And they may or may not know how to express it. A lot of times we see that as those attacks. They're crying out for help.
Frank, what you just said, every one of us is seeking growth. Now, whether it's consciously or unconsciously, our spirit wants us to grow. And growth means change. Change means letting go. But people don't want to let go of what they've become familiar with, because we live in a world that has conditioned us with this thought that change is scary. I mean, do you guys see it like that? I know I used to.
Yeah, there is a lot of indicators of that. And it seems, in part, maybe it just develops that way organically, but it seems to be arbitrarily set up that way too, to prevent people from moving forward. Sometimes, like in Mexico, they say, so 100,000 people say go into medical school. In the first year, 50,000 are kicked out. In the second year, another 25,000 are kicked out. And by the fourth year, only like 5,000 graduate from a base of 100,000. And they do this intentionally, you know, because these aren't dumb people going into medical school. They're the brightest of the bright, but still they fail, half of them, 50% within the first year, just to make a bottleneck.
It's the systems we have are corrupted, and so the manipulation is legal. It's done out in the open. And Trexty, bless you for the contribution. Hey, Jack, how do I get a hold of the emergency services over there? You are clearly about to snap. Dangerous levels of peace and love, man. You're causing untold harm or something. Yeah. Thank you.
It's funny too. That's the original reason that inspired me to jump up here and talk to you, because there was a comment in there, a negative comment. And I thought, I mean, if you need a backup for psychological evaluation, I'm on your side, brother. You're nowhere near going postal, as they say, right? You're in sound mental health, and you're trying to do the best you can, and you're up against a fucking machine that causes some of the highest levels of frustration and vexation that anybody would feel a little bit unnerved by it. But yeah, you're no danger, not to yourself or others.
No, I'm not, and I never was. And this Taco, I think if you snap, the trolls can only blame themselves, and they would. It would be true. But this is the thing, though, too. There's been real life consequences I've heard reported, right? These online relationships, if relationships can drive people nuts, and there's a lot of people who are already kind of emotionally or mentally unstable, and they find joy online. It's it can be dangerous, but at the same time, guys, humanity's just been living life wrong. That's all it is. It's not hard to be like Jesus. The choice is just made in the instant. You know, you just live in the moment, and then you make choices that are in line with being honorable and generous and kind. And that's it. You don't lie.
Yeah, and you had mentioned a moment ago, like some of the bigger channels that you might like to get in contact with, and I thought about that too. And one of the reasons I thought that maybe, you know, you said they don't maybe necessarily respond to you right away or whatever, and I think part of that isn't due to the fact that maybe you're not biblical enough, you know, and you're not in line with the direct transmission of Christianity. And you know, I've listened to you for 2 years, and I've only heard you mentioned specific things maybe half a dozen times, or a couple of dozen times or whatever. But for me, like someone who's not as religious, but more religious in my practice of faith rather than being religious overtly, I find you more approachable. Whereas those guys on the other side of the fence that are like, you know, Bible thumping types would find you less approachable. So I think somehow you're occupying like a middle ground.
Well, that's a lot of people think Jack's approachable. So, like hippies and atheists find Jack very approachable. We can target those.
Right.
Yeah. I think I am. I believe I was created for this. The middle road. I mean, I'm just like many others, but I know who I am. And growing up, I didn't really fit in with any groups, but I could go wherever I wanted. I got along with pretty much everyone. I just wasn't invited a lot of places. If that's not God. See, every one of us has an aspect of God and an aspect of humanity. Every one of us reflects each other. And the only way to really reflect the Most High is to be authentic and to be honest. because the Most High is true. And so we align with that which is true. We shift our mind from fear to clarity just with a choice. I shall not fear anymore. I don't spend time in fear. Fear just alerts me to information. Same thing with hate. Hate is just an alert to information. It shows a lack of understanding. And I used to live with hate instead of love. But Frank, my testimony is what it is. I'm hoping to find others who are willing to be witnesses of this, right? Because if we can find a way to get these ideas in before Congress and Donald Trump, we can reform the world very quickly. And I tell you what, if I find a way to succeed, then that's more evidence of what I've been saying. I'm following the way of Jesus. I think it's time to end wars. I want to speak to the bosses.
Yeah, and keep that with you as your fundamentals. I've always found something in simplicity, and I liked what you said a moment ago about being authentic. I've always considered sincerity and genuineness to be the best approach, because then you're never being dishonest with yourself. And if you're earnest and you're striving, that should be enough, and that will guide you. And because sometimes it gets so confusing and such great complexity, and you're up against insurmountable obstacles, and that's when you just have to dwell with the Spirit of the Lord and return to simplicity and your authenticity, because that shines. And that's what I've been seeing in you the whole time.
Thank you, brother. It's what I think what I heard you say is what I've been practicing. I've been practicing surrender, because at every moment is a new moment for me to surrender to the life I am living. I do not want to fight the life I am living. I don't want to hide from the life I am living. My goal and what I truly want is to love the life I am living. So to love the life I'm living, I got to let go. I got to let go of my idea of what this life should look like and just allow myself to be with the life I'm living right now. Because the life I'm living right now, if I can find a peace and a wholeness and realize that I'm with God and all that ever was and all that ever is, all that ever will be is here and now with me now. And what type of future do I want? That's something that life showed me. It's a lesson I talked about recently. I don't mean to repeat stuff, but I remember getting into the rooms of AA. It took me a while to admit I had a problem with my drinking. Then it was a kind of a hassle to get through the insurance and all this other approval nonsense for me to get some help. But I made it into detox. With the support of others, I started getting some sobriety. And then I started finding strength in my sobriety from others in the rooms of AA. So it was a cooperative effort that changed me. And I started down this, I brought this up for a reason. I'm sorry. Where I was going with it got away from me.
Yeah, no, good magic. I think like building on the past, enjoying those victories in the present, and then moving forward to an even greater future.
Yes. This is what I realized. Life is what we create it out to be. It's the stories we tell ourselves. The stories we tell ourselves about ourselves becomes the character who we are. So if you want to improve your life, improve your diet, your choices, you redefine your character. To redefine your character, you realign with your values. And if you don't know what you value, then it means you've lost sight. And it's time to get out pen and paper and to start to figure out what is important to me. Who am I? Who am I not? Right? There's all sorts of ways for us to get clarity, but to shift from fear to clarity, I'm telling you, it is, you never want to go back. You never want to go back to fear once you escape it.
Yeah, it's a fact, and I think your message touches to me especially true at some level too, because I have battled back and forth a little bit with alcohol abuse, and in 2007, I think I entirely swore off of it, and I went 13 years, and then it was during lockdown I started, getting a little sniff off the bourbon a bit here and there, and then I'm glad I didn't go back into whiskey much, but I started drinking beer here and there, and each time it just abuses the body and the mind, and it never has a beneficial upshot to it. You enjoy it in the moment, and then you don't enjoy it, and then the next day you always suffer from it, and it dehydrates, and there's so many negative aspects, and I would say next to nil in positive returns on it. But yeah. So building on those positive growths, and that's the way to get away from those addictions, right? Like you were saying, when you can reflect on those and get the power from them and realize the healing is true, but it does take time, then growth does happen. But yeah, you have to give yourself space and sometimes forgive yourself.
Space. Brother, space. That's another interesting term and word. It's kind of like God. Space. We need space so we can grow. We need space so we can think. Well, we are the space that we create so that we can think. We are the space that we hold for others, right? We're holding space for each other. We create this moment of bringing the mind and the heart into the presence of one another. That's holding space. And what I realized is in this world, right, the selfishness of America, it is undeniable. I think the best way to overcome selfishness is through polite interventions. We help each other realize, hey, maybe that's not the best, right? Well, the best path is individual. We focus on ourselves, but in the greater picture, we've got the poor divided to protect the rich. The rich work together to keep the rules the way they are so that the profits continue to build. It's just it's part of the system and its design. It's working great. But if we want to shift the world and change things, it's time for us to change our ways of thinking. What I've learned, and Frank, with your studies of consciousness and other philosophies, this term is something I heard and wrote down. Detached alertness.
Interesting.
What came to my mind for that, detached alertness being the goal of just being. The idea is to be consciously aware, to be aware of not of everything and yet attached to nothing. Because I think that's in line with the mind of God, aware of everything and attached to nothing.
Yeah, it makes sense. I hadn't heard that expression before, but from a psychological perspective, we have the conscious and the subconscious, and so they often liken the consciousness to like a spotlight and the subconscious to a floodlight. And so when you do take a step back and dwell more within the spirit of the Lord, you can be more detached from the critical factor or like the analog function of conscious attention, always scrutinizing and judging everything. And then I think you can get that, what'd you call it? Detached awareness.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
That's an interesting term.
Alertness was the term they used. Detached alertness. So that you are alert and aware. But what would be the reason to be alert? Maybe it's just active awareness was the key, but
Yeah, well,
sorry.
discernment, and then finding the right opportunities and being able to work through all the Gordian knots that are surrounding us at this time. And it, like I said, it takes a layman to get in there sometimes and see it from the everyday man's perspective in order
Yeah.
to be able to cut the knot, right? What's going on here? The slogan of "Live without fear" here roughly translates to ignore the darkness, pretend it's not there. No, that's wrong. That's
Thank
ill-founded.
you.
The place is nearly an inferno, and you're more. Yeah, see, this is just a meme. And people, when
Well,
they get into like this mimetic self-talk and negative self-talk, this is the kind of things they iterate. Go ahead.
well, thank you. That's what I was hoping you would be a witness to, is that, yeah, Hiram below. I think you're missing something here. Because maybe this is what you've been telling yourself. You're missing the boat. The place is nearly an inferno. I am not interested in rearranging the furniture on board the Titanic. Nope. You're missing the boat completely with your false conclusion.
Yeah, and if you've had even the slightest amount of leadership training, you can see this is the difference between people who just are programmed to do things and then leadership. Like what you're focused on is there are problems, but you're looking towards solutions as the answers, right? Whereas this individual is just focusing on the problem and saying, oh, you're ignoring the problem. And that's not at all what I've seen you doing.
Yeah. Blessings to you somewhere in time. The wrench has been yanked. So thank you for being here. And, you know, praise God, indeed. This life we're living, man, it's a crazy adventure. And Frank, I guess I need to be careful with how I say this. I'm not saying I have everything figured out. That's for sure. But I am saying that I have been blessed to have found answers to a lot of things for me. And what works for me could work for others who are like me. And if what works for us will work for others, well, then we've got the solutions to change the world. The truth shall set us free. But people haven't been willing to accept or consider the truth of what I've said.
Yeah, that's true. And like I was saying a moment ago, sometimes they come forward with the negativity. It's because they're mired in it, and
Yeah.
they have this tendency within the mind towards negative self-talk, and then that's what they express to others. Which I know that you've already reprogrammed yourself. You're reprogramming yourself with the salvation of Jesus and the grace of God and all of those things that you know can provide you with that real extra power that will lead you in the right direction. And so when I see that darkness coming forward, it's not that we're ignoring it, because I do similar things, I tell myself positive affirmations, and I do prayer, and I commune with the Lord. And I think a part of this internet experience is our fellowship. And I would advise the mods, like, because I know there's a lot of mods in the chat room, don't pull people too quickly just because they make a negative comment, unless they're like overtly malicious. I don't know. What do you think about that? I think people should be given some tolerance, because that's what it seems to be you show the most of.
Yes. And my idea is, and hope is, to have a community, because there is a community of people here. Now, the best way to have a community is to have people included. The wrench, the mod, it's just a simple way of inclusion, I think. Hey, Frank, thank you with Special K. And
yeah, she's being clever. Well, so I thought I would address her.
She's got plenty of doubts with me, and she wants to make a lot of assumptions about me. And so
yeah, she's quick-witted and intelligent. And she definitely pays attention and listens, and so she's actively participating. And you're right, though. I haven't seen, like, I'm not here every day with you, and I try to listen to your show every day because it's an hour, 2 hours long. It's and it's wonderful. Yeah, it's wonderful to see you doing good and sticking in there. And sometimes when you disappear, I get a little bit concerned.
Well, yes. You're here for a reason. So is Special K. But Special K has, she hasn't quite seen me or what I'm doing clearly yet either. And I'm grateful for everyone who's here, but at some point, things will be changing. And it's not going to be changing in the way that these people betting against me want to think.
That's right.
So how do I help them prepare for that? I know it's not my responsibility. I've tried to caution people and I've tried to warn people, hey, you may not want to pick a fight with me, right? Because you don't know who I am. You don't know what I've learned. You don't know anything about me, but.
Or where you're going and who you'll be. That's right.
Well, yeah, and I've even spoken clearly about what I've done, what my intentions are, and what I hope to be. And so somehow people still think it's wise. Think it's wise to come out of the woodwork and argue against me.
Yeah. Well, don't forget the little guys when you do get to the top. Oftentimes people have a tendency to pull the ladder up behind them. And you're going to remember the people who were good to you and the people who came and shit in your living room as well. So if in that time, if and when in the future, you need a representative for your Chinese part of the implementation plan, don't forget me, because I probably got the most thorough knowledge of the Central Kingdom here in old Peking.
Brother, I'm hoping to, I don't know your plans for the future, but I am hoping to travel very soon, and I would love to have you as a guide, have you show me around Taiwan. Wait, where are you? You're not in Taiwan.
I'm in China. No, I'm in
Beijing. You're in China.
But yeah, if your destination ever brings you here, I don't know much about Taiwan, honestly, but yeah, Peking is my hood. I know this place like the back of my hand now, and I would be more than happy to do that. And my intentions in the future are ultimately retirement, and I do want to get involved in politics, in fact, and I want to be able to use my understanding of Chinese. The academy I work at, the Bush family, is well connected with it. In fact, just at the end of our semester here, Neil Bush gave a presentation in our auditorium. I was right there. I went up and I shook his hand afterwards, got a picture with him. Yeah, he's W. Bush's younger brother. And so, yeah, I'm rubbing elbows with the right guys too. And I got an uncle that's in L.A. and he's kind of a big shot. He does commercials for the Super Bowl and stuff. But I'm such a low level guy. I'm just a high school teacher. But I'd like to add my voice to the political battlefield at one point, once I've cultivated enough experience and wisdom to do so. But yeah. And this one of these gals here in the chat, she said, "Fake Frank." And it's, no, I'm not fake. I'm not fake. I'm being earnestly sincere, because I do enjoy your show and I do enjoy the way you interact with people. And I have seen you to show a lot of patience and goodness towards people. And, occasionally everyone fucking gets razzled a little bit with some of these folks. But, I think going forward, you're bringing forth a good message for people. And that's the other thing too. How can we better unify and fellowship in order? Because I do some of the little things I can do to try to bring attention to your channel. And like other people, if they're watching that, they can do things too. It doesn't have to be done in the vein of humor or satire like I do, and I don't try to be malicious in mine at all. Other people can make shorts and try to clip things that they think are relevant. And the other ways, I think it's helpful if people do it in a good light, and with a spirit of building things up, right? Why do people have to always come in and try to tear everything down? Why can't we help a guy build something up once in a while? Why is that so hard to do?
It's well, people behave based on what they've learned. And there's been a lot of people who have learned some poor habits, unhealthy habits, communication, and just the way we live.
Yeah.
We live in a world where insanity has been enabled as normal, to where it's normal for people to lie to one another. It's normal for people to cheat. It's normal for people to steal. No, that's not normal. That's unhealthy, selfish, greed. It's juvenile. It's against everything that society is for.
Yeah. They put a throne at the top and they let everyone engage in evil competition to try to get there and act like it's the only spot on earth that
Mm-hmm.
matters. And it should be just the opposite. We should be working in a spirit of cooperation and fellowship. I mean, that's one of the underlying messages I believe in the Christian religion is to have fellowship with your fellow man. And like, when two or more are gathered in my presence, I will be there. These types of things try to reinforce that idea. And that's one of the questions I wanted to ask Tommy a moment ago. Do you think that a man can receive salvation without biblical dogma and doctrine? Right? Because his main angle against you is that you're not expressing the exact letter of the law. But I believe that you've always lived within the spirit of the law. And I think there's a difference between these two.
Frank, that right there, the spirit versus the letter of the law, there's a philosophical distinction that is extremely critical for people to understand. The letter of the law is for those who want to enforce and use rules to punish, but the spirit of the law is for education. It's for order. And we need order in our lives. But from the religions to the governments, they've taken the idea of rules and order and it's been twisted into mechanisms for division and punishment. It's insanity. But I took us off course, but this is what my life has shown me. It's so obvious. Once you see the truth, you cannot unsee it. And if people would stop arguing against me and try to see what I'm seeing, what I'm envisioning, what my words are pointing at, well, I'm sure people could come up with better ideas for how to spend our time together. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
It's a battle that I lost, like my sister because of it. Like I had gone to visit her recently. She lives in Colorado outside of Fort Smith, a really, really beautiful neighborhood. They spend like $1 million on building their home. And when I went, she took me to church on Sunday and stuff. And I just expressed a few of the ideas of the way I study and the way I practice my spirituality with her. And she immediately was antithetical to it. Magic's not condoned in the Bible and this kind of thing. And it's like, if you don't study and practice exactly the way I'm laying out for you, then you're, not welcome as a child of heaven. And it's like, that type of tyranny, I don't think is good for people, and it makes it hard for people to maintain healthy relationships.
Mm-hmm. Frank, that's
So
one of my. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you, would you allow for that space and growth in relationships and like the way you approach things? You seem to, and so I'm curious, and that's why I wanted to ask Tommy that question as well.
I'd be curious of his answer, but he's been pretty clear what you described. He's critical of me because I don't live and talk the book that he wants it to be lived and talked. But what I found, I've been pretty clear about my experience and my relationship with the Bible. It helped me understand what I was experiencing. It offered a different vocabulary and different explanations to what I knew in my heart. And by the time I looked at the Bible, though. I'd already looked closer. I'd looked closely at, the development and evolution of religion here on Earth. It's a fascinating story, how the different faiths have patterned and how they've developed and the underlying messages. And then, of course, how they got corrupted. But it's really not that difficult when you stop and you understand everything is simple. And this life we live in, from religion to government, people have used language to overcomplicate it. People argue over words, losing the point, right? We're living in this world today. We don't have to have the words perfect, but we need to do something different. What is happening in this world is, it's biblical. Praise God. Because all time is.
And really, like, I don't see how Tommy doesn't get it, that like that adherence, that strict adherence to so-called biblical testimony is one of the main concomitants that causes him to battle with other people. And it's not the spirit of the Lord, right? That's not the spirit of God's message. Why would he want like a tool like the Bible to be used as a way to prevent people from reaching salvation? Isn't it supposed to be the opposite? And so when these people have, they use the book or the doctrine as a rule by which with to judge other people, is it really their place to stand in judgment of us? I don't know that that's written in the word.
This is my criticism of the Abrahamic traditions, whether it's Jewish, Christian, or Muslim. Each of them, especially in the fundamentalists, they believe they have some sort of supreme authority, and it's ways of the world. I mean, we're here to overcome the ways of the world. Religion is that.
Ways of the world. Yeah, it's not the ways of the Lord, right? It's not the message he was teaching. Like, they come in here, they call you blasphemous, or they say all these other things, and those are all like deeply encoded at a rudimentary level from their attendance in these organized religions. They wouldn't treat their fellow man like that in a natural setting. And I think that militant, and they, like, he adopts a militant aspect of it. I need to brandish the sword. And it's like, why would you want to brandish the sword against a man who has done no harm? Like, he's whipping it out to chop your head off because you don't believe the doctrine exactly the same way he does. That's no justification for that type of action, I believe. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. What do you think?
No. I know my life is the same as others. I've just been blessed to learn and to observe different things than I think others may have. We each test each other every moment of every day. It's according to some unknown, mysterious, perfect pattern. Now, our energies, the quality of energies that make up our time and our day, how we're feeling, the energies and the feelings that we're moving with, that attracts and communicates with the universe, and it's far beyond just our words. But the words we think, the words we say, they matter. People are so sloppy with their words that, this is why we have the world we have. Hey, we got to...
That's absolutely correct. And when they're injurious towards others without and it's not done for any specific reason, then I think it's very hurtful. Hey, Tommy's here. Good to see you, amigo. Bobby Tuesday here.
I'm a very busy person. I know you guys don't understand things like that. It's been very hard not to chime in on many parts of this stream. We might have to review it in the future because I can't even. Frank, you must go to Six Flags a lot. You enjoy Jack's Loops.
Yeah, Valencia, California. Six Flags in Valencia.
I have been known to kiss my Valencia sash and say unforgivable. But Frank, I appreciate that you don't claim you're a Christian, because all this like that's good magic, that's cringe as fuck, dude. And I do it, and I agree. I don't know how your friend handled you, but I am sure Jack has gone to those many churches in Washington and started saying his thing, and they're like, "Oh, this might not be the place for you." Because it's
That's right. They're elitist, gate guards, egalitarian. Oh, we shall cast
Well,
you down.
I know,
Can't
Frank.
approach the Pharisees, right?
I know. You think
the
you
money
know.
changers.
You want to be right, Frank. I know.
Pass around the plate, play the music.
Frank, you like to join in this YouTube narrative of all these thousands of interpretations, and your interpretation is yours, and my interpretation is mine. And if I turn my camera on, you'd see me doing pirouettes and spinning with my cool Stone Temple Pilots hat on.
Here's the thing, Illuminati. I don't need the Bible. I don't need the Bible. I don't need the Bible because I talk to God. I speak to the Father directly.
Right, but
What the fuck do I need a Bible for?
That's why you need a Bible for, because that is the Word of God.
No,
and you
don't need it. It's one man's record of what went down, but there's stuff going down right now that we need to do in record.
Somebody text Paul and tell him to tune in. I'm about to exorcise this demon. He's enraged by my life.
To Jehovah. Worship Jesus. It ain't gonna save
He's
you,
enraged by my life, because even demons know Jesus by his first name.
No, they don't. They laugh at his name. In the spirit realm, demons laugh at the name of Jesus.
Is that what you think?
It's not what I think. You invoke Yahweh and they fucking cringe in fear. You invoke Jesus and they laugh like children.
Cringing, Frank. We're all cringing, Frank, but not in fear.
No,
we're cringing because one of
Jehovah. King Solomon knew this. Did King Solomon invoke the name of Jesus? By no means. Did King David? Did King Isias? Did any of the kings of Israel? No, not a single one.
David
they all utilized YHWH.
See, you're being a fucking queer bait pussy. You would never stand for me to just go on, and this demon is triggered. And that's why you're hiding, Jack.
And I'm not triggered. I'm just trying to have a conversation with you, but you never allow for back and forth.
You take your breath and dominate, brother.
Land a point, then.
Is that what you think is happening, or are you not
stopping? You're going to give me a 15-minute diatribe on what you think is to be true, and that's not the way conversation
works. You have not stopped for one response, you China-running faggot. You don't deserve my numbers today, Jack. You don't deserve my fucking numbers.
Tommy, please. I stepped in a little bit too late. Sorry to put you in the back, Frank. I was hoping hoping to calm it down.
Notice how it based down to ad hominem attacks on my credibility in order to devalue what I was saying, which is fine. I mean, that's base. That's just the way babies act.
You know, it's interesting how people will use religion as an excuse. And this is my criticism. Religions throughout time, they've been used as coping devices, coping for the illegitimate, the oppressive rulers of the day. It's recorded clearly throughout history, the way the Catholic Church aligned with the state. And then every time that religions have been introduced to the state doesn't change as much as the religion changes. So we've got a Roman reflected version of Christianity and, all sorts of things.
Yeah, and I think that's the main point I wanted to try to make with Tommy is that we don't all have to commune with Source and with God in the same way. It doesn't have to be by the big biblical scripture. In my mind, for some people it does, and that's fine. But all that's ever going to serve as is a division point. Like I said, in my example with my sister, I can accept her for who she is and a church-going Christian, and I can even attend church with her because I have tolerance and patience and I have the virtues of the Spirit. But when it comes to her looking at the way I practice my spirituality through ceremonial magic and calling out to the direct name of God as written in Hebrew, then that's just too much for her, right? And I never told her that the name Jesus doesn't work on the spiritual battlefield. It just, for me, it doesn't. I don't know, maybe it does for other people. But I've had paranormal experiences. I do deep internal alchemy through meditation. And I know how to do the sleep of Sialam, which is how Solomon contacted God originally. And so did David. They go into sleep in a sacred space, and then they have direct lucid dreaming of the Lord's message. And so they hold court with him in his celestial palace. And I know this is a different approach. Many people don't take this approach. That's why prophets are very few. And I've been very reserved. I haven't bring forth any of the prophecies that have been revealed to me because they're not necessarily meant for the world. They're meant for me. But like, you know, in that little battle that took place, and I apologize for behaving that way on your channel. You know, it's just,
It's all right.
Tom, he didn't want to have a conversation. He wanted to yell at me. You know, and it's like, yeah,
He likes yelling.
let's have a conversation. Bring forward a few good points. I'll counter with what I think, and then you counter with what you think, and then we learn to grow. Like I had a conversation earlier today with KJV, and I was able to learn from him, and he was able to learn from me because we weren't in a battle of competition, and there wasn't this Bible preventing us from having a conversation. And so that's the only thing. When biblical canon and biblical text prevents people from forming friendship and fellowshipping in the name of the Lord, I find it to be a concomitant and not a benefit. But again, that's just me. And so how do you feel, though? I mean, you seem to do well without constantly relying on Scripture, and you don't seem to vilify people that don't necessarily believe exactly the same way you do.
Right. And eventually people will start seeing that. But, hey, I can see how this could be interesting. Did you see this from Breakfast Tacos? Are you familiar with Breakfast Tacos?
I watched you on his show the other day.
right.
Both of your shows. You had one with Flo and one with Snafu.
Would you be interested or available in interview you tonight on his channel around 9 Central? So that's about 2 hours from now, I think.
Yeah, that would be fun. I could do that. You know, make some breakfast, have some coffee. It's 8
Wait.
a.m. here in Old Peking. Let me see, when
My
would
math-
it be?
My math might be wrong, but I think that's about 2 hours from now.
It looks like it's 6 p.m. in Denver right now. So 3 hours from now. Is
Okay.
Denver central? Or is Denver not central?
I think, I don't know. I don't remember. I was just there. I don't remember.
It might be Memphis. Let's see. So Memphis is, it's 7. You're right. It's 6:45. So about 2 hours?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. So here. There you
Yeah,
go.
that would be perfect. I could
Up
do
on,
that.
I'll
That
have
would
a
be
link in the chat and a
good
little
fun.
over 2 hours. Amazing. Perfect. And yeah, breakfast and tacos on a Tuesday with Frank Monday. Breakfast tacos on a Tuesday with Frank Monday. Hey, we've got another guest here. And,
Unbelievable.
welcome, Brenda.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I know I follow Breakfast Tacos also. It's got a good channel.
You got your microphone in your pocket, Brenda.
The audio's coming through real rough. Hardly
You
at
got to
all.
get out of the fish tank when you come on the internet.
I think she'll get it figured out.
Good fun. Now, is Brenda the one that spends a lot of time on flat Earth channels, telling them that the Earth is a globe?
Possibly. That's
Okay.
one I know as Brenda Debates, and
Okay.
yeah, loves to debate, to argue. And hey,
Yeah,
we've
you
got
could
another guest.
see how all these social circles are commingling with each other.
Welcome back, Landry. How you doing today, brother?
Doing good. How are you?
Yeah, you look like you're at a 1980s disco. What's happening? Landry? Is that his name? Landry?
Yeah.
laundry, whatever you want to call me, modern man, number one.
That's right. Modern man
Number one of
one.
many.
Yes. How are you today? What's going on?
I'm good. I was enjoying the nice conversation for a while there. It was going smooth.
Was. So the question, though, it brings us back to every time, what are we going to do? We've learned of things in the world. We've learned there's divisions. We learned that a lot of the divisions are not actually as relevant as people think. So what do we do? How do we help collectively shift from fear to clarity? Ooh, that's the question. If we answer that, that's the key. How do we get the world? Because just looking at America, America is run and controlled, operated through fear and lust. Fear and lust can be overcome by healthy thoughts, by intervention, by cooperation. So
And isn't it interesting how the world, the way of the world, uses two of the greatest evils against us in order to manipulate us, right? Fear on the one side, lust on the other, pulling you forward towards the lusty interaction of, the abuse of sexuality, or pushing you back towards, fear for your survival. It's those constant oscillations between those points. You really nailed them down right there.
It's the push-pull. We are the dynamic result of the push-pull of the universe. Welcome
Maybe
back,
not you.
Tommy.
Am I? I was catching back up because I have things to do. I heard Frank say something about I was attacking the credibility of what he was saying because that's what babies do. So I have one question for Frank. What was I saying?
Your last words, right when you got cut,
What was my point?
were just you were yelling in such like a maniacal manner that I had a hard time following.
Maybe it's because your mouth was running the whole time, and that's why you don't know what I was saying. That's what
maybe
babies.
Tommy. Maybe you could slow down just a little bit and try to articulate your.
Did you teach him the multi-name?
Try to mother, father in heaven.
Please.
Try to articulate
That's
your
my dad.
points a little
That's
more
my
clearly.
Yes.
I got a mother
Now-
and a father.
Frank,
Class,
Tommy,
how many strategies of Jack did he just do?
Tommy.
He did my name. He rattled off my name out of the 30-round magazine. He said, I need to slow down like the cheetah stops for the zebra.
You do.
And he still refuses to have a back and forth. Jack, you're wrong.
I'll have a back
Jack,
and forth, Tommy, but not everybody is. Okay, good. I was going to say it, but I'm glad you stopped me.
I really want to ask him because I lived in Colorado for a while, and I know that they have like the city right outside of Denver. It's called Commerce City, and it's where everyone goes to get all their hardcore drugs. I'm just curious if he spends a lot of time there because that dude just seems like he's out of his mind.
Yeah, I was going to say it's kind of hard to have a conversation with someone that's hitting a crack pipe every 30 seconds, but
yeah, dude.
if he just slowed down a bit and like tried to articulate with greater clarity and land single points or even dual points, or even like most people can't handle beyond 3 variables at a single time. And so when you lay out 15 variables in rapid fire succession, only the highest level of genius could unravel that, and it really gives you no way to respond.
Sure.
Well, what I've witnessed and what we're all seeing, these are patterns of the ego. The ego that's within us, it's the one that gets diarrhea of the mouth. It doesn't shut up so it can protect its beliefs. That's what the ego does. The ego, the voice within us, the identity, the false identity, it only lives through repetition because lies must be repeated. But once lies are no longer repeated, once they're silenced, then the answers are found. So the way for people to heal, I don't want to accuse Tommy of drugs. He's just a high energy dude. It's what he's kind
Right,
of
and
gotten
I
accustomed
didn't want to do that either, and I apologize. I
I,
take that.
I, I mean, I was the one who did it. I'll take responsibility. It's just one of those things when you've seen it, I feel like it's hard to not recognize it. But
I
I can't prove
understand.
anything. I'm just going off of past
Well,
experiences.
he's approaching an adult interaction in a different way, I believe. Like, only an authority could talk down to you like that.
Mhm.
And we're all grown men here with our own experiences, and I think most of us are older than him. And so for him to step in the room and tell us how the cow's going to eat the cabbage is a little bit presumptuous.
I like that analogy because that's what the ego does, edging God out. And people do this in between us, right? We each have this reflection of God. We can be divine. We can be honest, and we can connect heart to heart. We can have a conversation like men. But then there's the ego, and the ego wants to fight. It wants to dominate. It's actually the agent of chaos. I'm convinced that if we bring psychology into the religious vocabulary, the two go together. The Bible has keys to the mind that unlock the spirit of emotion, the spirit of love. So the key is to embrace the psychology of Jesus, embrace the psychology of the Buddha, so that you have that mindset.
That's very interesting that you should mention that, Jack. There was a guy that lived from like 1907 to 1985. His name was Israel Regardie, and that's exactly what he did for the Western mystery tradition. He codified it in psychological terminology. And I don't know, a couple of his works might be beneficial to you, like The Garden of Pomegranates or The Middle Pillar, or like he has one called My Journey with Reaching Jehovah or something like this. But he did a lot of that work already. Israel Regardie, I'll type his name in the chat.
Thank you. There's been a lot of men and women through time, mystics and amazing teachers. It's amazing how much we don't know. I had no clue how much I didn't know until I was given a chance to stop and think. And once I started stopping and thinking, once I stopped drinking and started living with a more sober mind, it's incredible the different ideas I found. And then once I started, chasing down this path of better ideas, better choices, it became maybe a new addiction for me. I love spirituality. I love feeling bliss and love. And I want to share.
Yeah, I typed his name in there. It's
Thank
Israel Regardie, and one of his books that you might find light in is called The Garden of Pomegranates. I'm not sure about the spelling of pomegranates, but it should be easy to find. And I think you could be able to read through him, even just pick up language that would, help you to do what you just said you wanted to do, bring some of the psychological language more, because you're already doing that work, into the spirit of Christianity. Because he didn't directly address Christianity. He addressed more along like pre-Christian ideas, magic and pre-Socratic thought forms and this kind of thing. But his language and the way his books are written are easily approachable and modern enough that I think they might be useful to you. I don't know. I read a lot of his work when I was younger.
Thank you. Well, I become fascinated by knowledge specifically, right? Just generally how knowledge is developed and how it's shared, where it comes from, and what do we do with it. And there is so much value to be found in some of the ancient philosophies. It doesn't change, time doesn't change what is true. What is true is always there for us. We've got
and I have faith in that. And I have faith in, the Lord and reaching the Lord. And I don't think everyone has to utilize the same means exactly. I know there's the big narrative of the messianic change, and I appreciate that. And I even embrace the ideas you're bringing forward about a more vegetarian lifestyle, being closer probably to what Jesus was bringing forward. There it is, cowboy hat, ready for action. Got a 6-shooter on.
You nigger, look for the notification, Jack. Because, see, you're on your Mod God tip again, and it's going to be fun just using my phone to show you projecting what you did. Frank Tuesday, Bobby Thursday, Faggot Friday. Come on over, Frank. I'll show you how to get wrecked without any Mod God. I'll just use the truth of the Lord, and I'm not going to let you do your little demon spurg. You too, Jack. It's already set up. The time is open for whenever I get to my destination, when you've been wasting my time with your lip service of, oh, Tom's got a good heart and we're friends. We would be friends if you weren't in danger, Jack. You're in danger.
I'm actually not.
You are. A man...
No. Tom.
Are you going to talk over me?
Well, I want to address your unplaced fear, misplaced
A man
fear.
who learns without thinking is lost. A man who thinks without learning is in danger. I'll see you soon,
Agreed.
both of you, or show your cowardice.
Okay. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate the invitation, and I'll watch for notification.
And it's the idea that, I mean, just the fact that his discernment is so lacking. Like, can't he see that he's clearly much closer to the edge of danger than you are? You know, you're sitting back chilling at the casa, and you know, on a good vibe,
Right.
and doing a wonderful transmission. He's out in the world on the edge of a heart attack, you know, and cardiac arrest.
Right.
And he's the one that needs to be careful.
Frank, this is what is, once you see it, you can't unsee it. The way that people project in every emotional accusation, people are revealing themselves 90 or more % of the time.
I'm seeing it more and more now that you've mentioned it quite a few times, and I don't necessarily, you know, study psychology deeply or look at it that way, but yeah, I'm seeing it more and more.
It's biblical too. The caution of, you know, get the beam out of your own eye before trying to get the speck out of another. You know, he who is without sin can cast the first stone. There's so many reasons not to judge one another, just to accept one another and to listen to one another so we can understand one another. And Tommy's not a bad guy. He's just, you know, he's fighting to find his place in the world. And he found his way to want to fight me. Lots of people have done that. Lots of people. I don't want to disrespect the man, but lots of people who have achieved more have wanted to fight against me as well. So I welcome.
And that's another thing that baffles me is, like, you know, just that single statement from Jesus. I believe that was from Jesus, right? When he protected the prostitute, he said, "He who has no sin casts the first stone." And it always baffles me how folks are so ready to fucking throw stones at you, but they're living in glass houses. And like, I even found that when my sister used the Bible against me, you know, and it destroyed our relationship because she didn't have tolerance and patience. And it's like, can't you see that you're not living to the spirit of the thing, and the letter of the thing is preventing you from even like being a source of a transmission of the idea? I can understand apostatizing and even trying to convert, so-called, but man, gentleness is extremely important because, like you said, people have got very fragile egos.
And yet at the same time, people are so much stronger than they want to realize. Every one of us is so much more powerful. If we understood our power, the governments and the structures of economics would not be what they are. And I foresee a future where people are realizing that the structures of government and economics are not the way they seem. And since they're not the way they seem, then we shouldn't have so much resistance in trying to change them, because it's all built on lies. So We're living at an amazing time, brothers and sisters. I believe this is our choice, right? We're in this create your own adventure of life. Each of our bodies, we're the character and the vessel of development. We develop our body, we acquire different skills, just like these online games, right? We acquire different skills by different experiences, different teachers, different resources. So I really think we've been brought into this world, and if we follow the way of Jesus, which his way is love, then we have this opportunity. His job was his time on earth. He delivered the truth with grace for the world to know. I believe what we're here to do at this time is to expose the lies, to bring those who are deep in corruption out into the light, not so much for punishment and, harm, but to fix the problems. Does that make sense? Because it's the only thing that makes sense to me anymore.
Absolutely. And it seems like a good transition point, right? Like each of these epochs is meant to do something, like you said, and he brought forward the truth so that we
Yeah.
might have salvation. And now, because we're in one of the greatest times of deception, that would seem to be the answer, right? Expose the lies.
Yes. And if I'm right, people don't have to go directly to Jesus. I mean, that was your question earlier that I think Tommy would dispute against. But truly, it's by God, by the universal path that anything happens. And I don't think the religion is the important thing. What is important is what we carry in our hearts. And what we carry in our heart is going to be filtered through our mind, our mental being. I believe, should I find a way to achieve these goals, right? Where we get the governments and corporations to disclose, no more secrecy, no more non-disclosure agreements, no more black ops contractors, no more contracting out. That's what our government has been doing. Our government has legally been contracting out invasion of our privacy and, more degradation of our freedom through the legal loopholes. So let's stop the secrecy. And if we stop the secrecy so the truth reigns supreme, then these positions of wealth and authority, they have a totally different usage. And so if we find a way to create this end of wars and bring the reforms so the truth reigns supreme, I tell you what, I move. This goal is inspired by Jesus. I'm suggesting that's what we do. We reclaim this world in the name of Jesus. I thought Christians might want to get on board with the idea, but they want to argue about a book, right?
Oftentimes, yeah, they're stuck to the letter of the law. We have to break through the doctrine and the dogma and return to the spirit of the thing. Because I can accept Jesus, right? I can accept his his message and what he did for humanity, right, as the ultimate sacrifice for our salvation.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't want to be inundated with an entire new system of ethics that has to be lorded over me. Like, do you know if you want to join the Catholic Church, you literally have to study like for 3 months or something, 6 months of just tons of material and then test on it in order to be accepted into that religion? I'm not sure if you're familiar with that or not. My brother tried to do it because he married a Mexican gal that was Catholic.
I've heard. And it, again, the devil has overcomplicated life and overcomplicating how people can declare their unity. I mean, we've got all of these pageantry, all these traditions, licenses, requirements. They're all self-imposed. They're imposed because we accept that they're a requirement. The only thing that we are required to do is to be. And
Yeah.
for me to be, I want to be with God. I want to be with whatever is good, whatever is righteous, wherever I go.
And it begs the question too, like if Jesus were here today, would he be out, in the world battling with them on the streets, or would he be here online with us and doing a daily show?
Who knows? I
And he
mean,
accepted all people, right? He preached
Mhm.
to all people.
That's the version I understand. The way I understand the archetype and the character of Jesus, it was a perfect demonstration of what man is capable of. And what that's pointing at is the capacity of love. And truly, it's an example that love overcomes death, love overcomes time. By his love and by the story of that creation, he was the symbol and messenger of God's love for us. When we allow love to move us and to lead us, we might face pains in the world, right? We'll face temptations, we'll face criticism and hate, but you stand with love, you walk with love. Even when you stumble, right? Even when you're wrong, you are still on the right side if you're walking with love. It's when we step out of love, when we step away from the truth, that's when we're screwed, and we're screwing ourselves. So I thought I knew love in different forms through my life, but it wasn't until I surrendered myself fully that I started to experience love, divine love, not love from anywhere else, but from nowhere, right? Just from the mere awareness of breath and the awareness of being. By being the detached alertness, consciously aware of my being, that's when I can rid myself of my complaints, I can rid myself of my worries, and I can be silent with the love that is eternal. These are what I believe the Buddhas and the yogis and Jesus were trying to communicate. I'm pretty sure that this is it. And if we take the idea, carry it out, what it means is that each of us is on a perfect path. That means there is an energy of perfection that has created us and that it brought us forth and animates us into today. And that means we've got perfect opportunities. Go ahead, Landry, please.
Do you think that that everything is what's your stance on like yin and yang and how there's? Do you think it's like a perfect blend of? Because I've always kind of had this theory that if things get too good, you're gonna have to pay for it in some way. Because it seems like that's been the case in my life, where it's never just good, 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 good. It's usually if I have higher highs, they're followed by lower lows.
Yeah, when anything gets to its extreme, it reverts to its opposite.
Yes, and okay. So this world also convinced us to predict the worst. And that's a tendency a lot of us have, something good happens and we're not ready to enjoy it. We're ready to prepare us to be hurt again. That's part of our tests, part of our development. And it makes sense to me because eventually we get to the point where we realize the highs don't matter, the lows don't matter. All that matters is what I do. And what I do is based on what I feel. So I want to feel and do and be good and with love.
Yeah, that's true. And even if we push the equation towards more a benevolent world, it won't necessarily revert in the opposite direction. We just need to keep working towards that, And it's so difficult to arrive even anywhere at or near it anyway. So all of our efforts will not be in vain. We can do much good for the world, I believe. I know that's Jack's path, the path that he's on. I'm not necessarily on one exactly the same, you know, and each man must do unto his own. But I'm definitely here for the fellowship, and I want to support his idea because I think he's got the right idea. I mean, what's wrong with love, truth, and peace and exposing lies and stuff like that? Why should we oppose those things when Jesus himself taught the very same thing?
Thank you. That's what I know in my own path of healing from the disease of my addiction, the poverty mindset. I had to change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Those words from Wayne Dyer, they struck me when I heard them. And I started changing the way I looked at me, and I started seeing me change. We live in this realm where I'm convinced only God is real. We are not as real as we think, but what we think is real for us and for others around us. So the key is to be wise with what you spend time thinking about, because life is going to happen regardless of our opinions. Regardless of if we approve of it or not, life happens. And if we don't get involved with life, we'll just watch life happening and we'll fall asleep watching the world happen and getting entertained by stuff outside of us. But
Yeah,
if we
and
go ahead,
go ahead.
please.
Sorry. No, I was just going to add to your point that earlier you asked the question about how do we, eliminate fear and live without fear. And Tommy coming forward, very agitated, because maybe he's angry at the ideas I've presented today or whatever. And remember my spiritual teacher always told me, he said, never try to have a philosophical or spiritual conversation with someone who's obviously agitated. And he used the analogy of, like, imagine a mason jar filled with water and earth. And so by agitating, if you shake it violently, then all the earth and the water intermingle and you get a clouded mason jar, right? But then if you take that mason jar and you set it down and let the mud and the sediment settle to the bottom, then you receive a level of clarity in the water, right? And so spiritual and philosophical conversations are meant to be from a point of living without fear. Like you say, let the mud settle, let the agitation in the mind settle, and then you can see clearly.
This has been my goal, trying to communicate with people, even on these panels. We can communicate with anyone. Anyone who's willing can communicate. So if you get two people who are willing to communicate, it's just a matter of setting the ego aside, recognizing we're here in the present. We're going to discuss things from the past. We're going to discuss things of the future, and those might have feelings, but we're here and now, and we can get through the feelings, and we can discuss the ideas so that we can find agreement. And once we find agreement together, once we realize we can move past the battles and the disagreements, dude, the peace that's found, being able to sleep with no more battle, no more worry. I mean, I do that already, but there's a bunch of people that have battles with me. I feel bad for them. But this is the world we live in. People become our own worst enemies. And what I do trust, there's a reason Tommy and others have been in my path. There's a reason you guys are in my path, right? I'm in your path as well. I think in the future, we have incredible opportunities. If we find ways as common men and women, we start uniting together, we have the options to change the direction, to change the trajectory that the world institutions are heading. Because those involved in politics probably know a lot more details than I claim to. or that most of us would know. But I don't think they have the bigger picture. I don't think they have clarity on the bigger picture of what they're involved with. So one of my ideas in the near future, today's Tuesday, it might be this week, plan to head back to DC and see if any of the congressmen and women are back in their offices.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but Dr. D Head, I'm not real familiar with him. I've seen him in a couple of shows. I think he's over at The Machine Lies quite often, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But he posted a couple of quotes from Wayne Dyer's teaching. I don't know if you can bring them up on screen. If not, that's fine. But he says that, engaging in conflict or allowing anger and resentment to take hold weakens individuals and detracts from their well-being and happiness. This seems really accurate to me.
It is. Wayne Dyer was one of my favorite teachers. There's a lot of spiritual teachers, him and Alan Watts.
Yeah, I love Alan Watts.
Mm-hmm.
That's why people, I think, who get stuck, in just biblical transmission of the idea are really missing what's been offered in the modern world.
I agree, Frank. I really do. And this is what I realized I had been doing to myself. I'd been missing out on the greater world. Why? Because I was so consumed with paying my bills, right? Finding my solutions, my problems. I didn't think outside of me. But then my life changed. My mind opened. My heart expanded. And now where I'm at each day, I tell you, I have such a strong practice of gratitude. There's nights where I stay up late because my mind is on all the gratitude, all the good feelings, all the things I appreciate. That's a practice that is opposite of the way I used to live. I used to stay up late worrying, having arguments and fights in my head. I couldn't fall asleep, but I found ways to pass out every night, right? I drink till I passed out so I wouldn't be consumed with my thoughts.
Yeah, I found that I do that sometimes too. I know you're well away from it, and all the power to you. Stay as far from it as you can, because there's no benefit. If you found natural means to solve those problems, much better.
Well, Frank, this is what I mean. My practice of gratitude. It's natural now. I pray constantly through the day, and the words that are coming out of my mouth most often are thank you. And there's nobody else around. So I'm thanking myself for the life that I'm living, and I feel pretty good and honest about my gratitude. That's a state of being I didn't know to have.
Yeah, I found a lot of power and beauty and gratitude. And I found, since I started praying again, I find that more and more that I'm giving thanks and giving genuine respect to the Lord and his transmission, and the fact that 90% of the time he is providing us with abundance, right? It's the world, it's the way of man that cuts us off from that. The way of the Lord is abundance and fecundity, but the way of man is scarcity and control.
That's because the way of man, if you take the philosophies, the way of man picked up the ways of the devil, the ways of selfishness. And that's the idea too of the single eye. Your eye and light be single, be one, there's one experience that we are. So love the entirety of the experience. Love the beginning, love the middle, love the ending, and realize we don't know where the ending's going to take us, but if we don't pay attention, we're not going to have a lot of say in the direction that our life is going. And if all we're doing is focusing on plans, or we're focusing on our reactions and our opinions, we're wasting time. I lived a lot of my life that way. And now I live with intention. My time is, I'm generous with how I spend my time, but I'm very focused and purposeful on what is my intention. My intention for this, as I said, I want to share some inspiration, some updates, and it's fellowship. I've appreciated this fellowship with you guys today.
Yeah, thank you for that, Jack. I have as well. And even, Tommy comes up if he can, whatever, you noticed immediately, like if he's going to be at an agitated level, then I'm going to respond at a higher frequency and become a little more agitated as well, And I think that ultimately he wants his ideas to be understood, and he's going to realize that with grown adult men having an adult conversation, he's going to have to step in the room with an adult attitude, not one of I'm going to lord it over you, because no grown man's going to accept that from anyone. That's just the way it is.
What I'd encourage you to consider, brother, he's a test. Okay, he's a test for your character, as is his character, and it's really easy for us to get caught up in the tests of the character and battle each other. The high road, brother. I've been trying to do it, and I know others can execute the high road better than me.
Fair enough. I'm learning it from you. It's not one I've ever really opted to take most of the time. I usually get into the in the street fisticuffs. I'm like, fuck it, you want to go, motherfucker? Let's go. So yeah, I'm happy to learn that from you, and I think that's why we've crossed paths.
Amen. I think so too. Hey, I do think it's time to start wrapping up, though, unless you have any other ideas or thoughts.
Landry, you haven't said much. How are you today? Yeah. Did you want to bring something forward?
I felt like I just wanted to listen more tonight because I feel like I've talked a lot the last times we've chatted. Not me and you, but me and Jack. So I always want to be mindful of that, not to be that guy.
Yeah, no, praise God. I saw him on your channel recently, and I watched that transmission. I think it was a restream here from his channel, but I'll make sure that I sub up and pay attention in the future going forward. And I always appreciate the subs back at me if you guys
for sure, man. We got to support each other. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, just YouTube at Frank Monday.
Yeah.
And good magic. Yeah, I think you did a wonderful show today, Jack. I always enjoy the transmission. I try to tune in daily. Like I said in the past, I work a lot. I'm putting in 50, 60 hours at the shop. So I only have the weekends typically to chime in and say hello to everyone. But now I'm on summer vacation. So that's one of the great things about being a high school teacher is I get all a summer break off to chill. So that's good magic, man. I can appreciate it.
Beautiful. Here, I haven't been paying attention. I got Frank Mondays down there. I think our poll might have dropped it already as well. And we'll get.
Yeah, thank you for that, everyone in the chat, and thank you, Jack. And anybody interested can find me. I mean, it's one of the easiest names to search on YouTube. I think I'm the only thing that comes up anymore.
Yeah, and the Modern Men Lost Again as well. Make sure and get that one out as well, because it's all about supporting each other. Truly, we're in this life together. I never anticipated myself living this life where online was a part of my day-to-day, but I'm grateful that it got me to meet some of you folks, right? I appreciate the fellowship of today.
Thank you. Me too. Good to meet you, Lowry.
Oh,
good.
Hey, that's right, Frank. You were invited to breakfast tacos in about a half hour, I think. I don't know, in an hour coming up, whenever.
Okay, yeah. How do I connect with him anyway?
Link right there in the chat.
Okay, let me try to find it. Breakfast tacos. We'll have a conversation in about an hour. Okay, yeah. I'll copy that down. Make sure that works.
Yeah, that takes you to his live stream, which is scheduled to start in a little bit, in about an
Okay.
hour, 9:30.
All right, good
So,
deal. Yeah, and he said he wanted to do an interview. I don't know what that's all about, but yeah, I'd like to. What is his situation over there? Can you tell me just a little bit about it? Maybe the 60-second elevator pitch?
you know what? Good on you. Yes, he identifies himself as an atheist. Um, he says that we live in an atheist, naturalist, something else. He's got keywords he brings in, but he hosts conversations on religion and your discussions about Solomon and some of your perceptions. He's probably interested. Oh, there you go.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it should be fun.
Yeah, he'll have a StreamYard link in the chat too. So check him out. And stay
All right.
tuned for Tommy too. Try to give him some attention if that's available. But you do you.
What time is Tommy supposed to go online?
He'll probably start right after I wrap up.
Okay. Are you planning on spending any time over there, or you probably got other things to do right now?
I'll probably visit. I'm feeling good. I think tonight's going to be an early night for me, though.
Okay.
But I do intend to. I intend to try and support and spend time online. We'll see.
Yeah, it's good. It's good magic. And I'll finish with this then. Benjamin Franklin advised, early to bed, early to rise, makes one healthy, wealthy, and wise. So yeah, keep your early hours if you like, man. It's good magic when you can get it. So much love, Jack, and thanks for having me up. And good to see you, and I'm glad you're doing well. And just keep doing your thing, man.
Much love to you as well. All right. Thank you, Frank. Sincerely. Someone just asked Tommy's link. I dropped that again. And here he is.
Speaking of grown-ass men, that's me. Because I was just sitting here telling Ryan, either Jack is exercising his goldfish memory, and then you said, oh, and Tommy's stream too. So you knew you were sending him the breakfast tacos, and that's fine. He can show that he's a coward, over-talking piece of shit, that thing you don't like people doing except when it's him. And you can come over and not do the smiley, I'm different over here bullshit, because you're on notice, faggot. You're fake, you're a liar, and you keep playing the same games. I gave you 2 good shows this week.
I know.
Oh, are you doing that? Fuck you, you little girl.
Nope.
That's you. You're tossing your hair, doing your little passive-aggressive shit, but you don't have the info. You say you're more than happy to explain yourself as you kick people and tell them, figure it out. That's a snafu thing. That's a snafu thing, dickhead. He says he's got the receipts until he tells you to find him. You say you're happy to explain yourself until you say, I know, you figure it out. Because you can't explain yourself. And you know that I got you and Frank dead to rights. That's why you mod godded.
You don't have to.
You're going to play it cool. You're going to play it cool like Fonzie, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Jack, the breakfast tacos atheists are wagging your tail just like Polyboy did. Atheists and Christians can get along and have conversations. As soon as they're done coddling you like a little boy, they slander Christians all the live long day.
I know.
And I'd be more than happy to go over those faggot cracker niggers and not say faggot cracker nigger on their channel and show them what nobody's given them yet, which is the real deal.
Since you don't do that here, they probably don't suspect you'd be willing to do that there. So why don't you try practicing here?
Oh, so you're going to stand here and slander my word in front of me?
Maybe. I'm just suggesting.
Those boys ain't no more than me than Flow State, but I could have made a much better standing than you and Flow State ever had. It's pathetic. I am the adult. I got entertainment, Jack. I got cuss words and I got hype, but I'm the adult side, and I think everybody's seeing that. So you can keep your special gay. You can keep that faggot that said he used to go to. I don't go to Commerce City, but he goes to Trinidad to find his dates. We'll see if he knows what that means. I've never seen a more low T beta cuck try and talk shit up as something he don't know, but you support it. You enable it.
That I do.
Jack, raise your eyebrows. Cool. Do you know, if you're a grown-ass man that fathers kids and stuff, do you understand what it is to tyrannically suppress my side today and not show up? Do you know what that makes you?
What's that? I love that guy. He keeps me on my toes, that's for sure. Brothers and sisters, I hope you find the joy. I hope you find the fun um, here, here with me, and with all those who join, those who tune in. Sincerely, I appreciate the fellowship today. I started the stream with some inspiration, some ideas, and truly wondering what is today going to bring. Uh, we ran a little longer than I anticipated, but the topic today, hanging out, was part of it for me. I'll be honest. I enjoy hanging out with people. Why? I guess I'm a people person. I enjoy people. And I didn't used to. I used to hate people. At least that's what I told myself. And since I told myself I hated people, I never found a lot of fun around them. But ever since I started changing my attitude, deciding that I don't hate anyone, I love being me. I love being me because I don't have to be some of these other people. I don't like telling them that, but that's the truth. Some of these people are just miserable. They're angry and bitter, and they can't find any sort of pleasure no matter how good life is. And I used to be like that. So I understand those people. And so I appreciate you sharing your understanding, your patience with me as we share understanding and patience with others. And that wasn't the primary talk today. Today we had actual healthy conversations, a lot of great topics, I feel. I think I'm going to wrap it up there. But the idea is shift from fear into clarity. Face your selfishness. Face your selfishness. Where are you selfish? Where can you be more generous, more compassionate, more merciful, not just for yourself, but for those around you? Because for your life to improve, it's compounded. It makes a good investment in making your life better. It's investing in helping the lives of those who are around you, right? Give some true, generous love and care and respect and appreciation to those who are there for you, because they're not always there. So when they're there, enjoy. When they're gone, enjoy, and enjoy yourself. I hope this is clicking and not just sounding like rambling. I'm going to wrap it up there. Till next time, thank you again. Choose love, peace for everyone, and live without fear. God bless us all. Peace.